Hey, what's up you guys? I got my hands on some golden SoFlat Matte acrylic paints, and I've seen some other YouTubers use them, and I was curious, how do these test against Posca Markers? Posca Markers are my bread and butter. These are my artistic crutch. I use these in like everything that I do. So let's head to the craft store and pick up some supplies, and then we'll be right back and talk about our plan for this video. Alrighty, and we are back from the craft store. So what I've gotten is these golden paints. I also got a fresh pack of Posca markers, and then I also picked up this SoFlat Matte paint. I haven't used this before, so we'll see how this is. Today we're going to be testing three things. I want to see, first off, value. Is it worth it? These ones run for about $15 for 2 ounces. This is around $1 for 2 4 ounces. And then Posca markers are like around $7 a marker. So big spread there on how much each of these things are worth. The second thing I want to test is it shiny? Is it shiny? Is it not shiny? How matte is this paint? We're shining like some lights on it, and we'll see if we get any feedback or luminance. Luminance, is that how we say that? Luminance from it. And then also I want to test its ease of use. So do I need to add anything to the paints? Does it need to be watered down? Does it need to be thickened up? How well does it like lay when you're painting? Do I need to do a second coat because it's too transparent or not? Yeah, so that is the game plan for testing these paints against each other. So let's hop into what I'm going to be drawing for today. Alrighty, welcome back. So I drew this lovely thing in Procreate. It's a fun little flamingo with a little beach and a palm tree, and it's got some skulls too, because you know everything can't just be all nice and pretty all the time. We gotta make it a little badass from time to time. So this is what we're gonna be drawing. I've gotten just 3 pieces of wood from the craft store, just like little 8x10s that we're gonna be painting on. I've already prepped them. I've spray painted the background orange just to have a nice saturated background. Sorry, I've been sick and now talking's hard. So yeah. All right, let's get into the time lapse. Round 1. We're going to be using Posca paint markers first. So I just wanted to start off by just saying thank you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. This is my first like real attempt at a YouTube video, so it means the world to me that you're watching it right now. First tip of the video, you can use small paintbrushes with the nib, like the tip of the markers, to get into nooks and crannies. This is really good for when you're just starting off, so you don't have to buy a bunch of different sizes of Posca markers. This works just fine. It's something I use just about every time that I've used Posca markers. Another thing you can do with Posca markers is blending. It takes some practice, but you have to work really fast because these dry. But you can achieve a blended effect with them. It takes a lot of paint and a little bit of skill, but it can be achieved. Another tip for using Posca markers is if you want to use like a certain paintbrush. For this segment coming up, I use like an angled shader, and I just took the Posca marker itself, depressed it into a paint tray, and then I was able to use that nice color with a paintbrush to get the certain shapes that I wanted It is a little wasteful, but it does work. Alright, and here's the finished product with the Posca markers. As you can see, I used a lot of different markers for this. But it all came out really saturated, nice, matte. The colors are punchy. I'm really happy with it. Alright, this time we'd use the SoFlat Matte paints. I decided to tape off the background, so when I was making the gradient it'd be a lot easier, and it saved me a bunch of time compared to the first one where I did not tape off the background and some of the inside. I was quite surprised by these SoFlat paints. They moved really well, and they also blended really well too. Out of the 3 gradients that I did, this one was definitely the easiest, but I also had to add a lot of white to achieve the effect that I was looking for, and it made like a raised level on the painting. You might be able to see it in the finished product, but there's like a dip compared to the other spots. With the amount of white that I added, I knew that the colors were going to be a little bit toned down, but I was expecting them to still show through and to not look so pastel-y in the finished product. And they all had like a really chalky texture to them. It was really uncomfortable to paint on. And now here's the part that you were all really here for, me peeling off the tape of the painting for the big reveal of the background. I joke. To redraw the lines for the tree, I decided to use a grease pen or like a wax pencil, whatever you want to call them. You could use whatever you have, like a pencil would work just fine. I believe these pencils are usually for like marking on glass or metal. Just adding in some details. We're almost done with it. Doing some line work, not knowing which brush I wanted to use. I think I tried every single one. Ended up going to the store and buying more. Alright, and here's the reveal. This is the finished product of the SoFlat Matte budget paints. It came together really nice. On its own, I think it looks great, but compared to the other 2 paintings, it definitely falls short in terms of like how vibrant and intense the colors are. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the paint test of the Golden Acrylics SoFlat Matte. I will say that I had very high expectations for these paints going in. I've used the heavy-bodied golden paints before and really love using them. They're nice and thick, super viscous, fun to use, fun to build on top of. My only gripe though was how hard it is to control how much paint is coming out of these little bottles. Now I know I could have used a paintbrush and just scooped some out, but I really wish that the bottles would have been designed like these. They have these little pour spouts on them and they're so nice. And this time I taped off the background, but I didn't tape off the entire background. You know, happy accidents. I think that's a Bob Ross quote. It worked out. One thing that was really nice of these paints though is that it didn't bleed. Except where like I put down like a ripped piece of tape or not enough tape. Where the tape was properly placed, it didn't bleed through, so that was really, really nice. The craft paints bled really badly. Alright, now we're gonna give this short build flamingo some color. If you can see here, making lines with these paints is so buttery, just smooth. And you can already tell off the bat that, one, I made a mess, and two, the saturation of these is really deep. I did do a couple of layers of the paint because it was just because I wanted to get the right color, but I could have left the first coat and been okay with it. Here I mixed the teal, the green, and the white together to get this fun shade. Just right off the bat, you can see how punchy that these colors are compared to the craft paints. Just so much deeper of a color. And for painting on wood, these took really well. Like the Posca sometimes didn't get into the grains of the wood without having to like put a lot of the ink down, while these, it took to it really nicely. I think these might be my new go-to paints for wood. This is a round brush that I used for most of all of the paintings. And here's the final product. What do you guys think? How did it turn out? Disregard the background, but other than that, I really like it. All the colors came out really nice, super saturated, fairly clean. I really enjoyed using these paints, and I think you will too if you try them out. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you, I appreciate you. So, for my final thoughts on how the Posca's SoFlat Mattes and the Craft Matte paint compare to each other, let's start off with talking about our three categories. We had value, we had shine, and we had ease of use. So for Posca, the value of them, I'm going to give them an 8. They are around $7 a marker, super affordable, and you can probably lower that price too if you buy the packs of them at your local craft store. That's where I started. I would just buy the packs of the different size nibs and run with it from there. You could just open them from the box, press the nib a couple times, and you can go tag a wall. You can go write on a piece of wood. You could, whatever you want, just don't write on paper because it's not a fun time if you write on paper with Posca markers. So I'm giving them an 8 for value. I think they are just wonderful. And then for the craft paints, I'm going to be giving them a 3. I don't find much value in these. They have a weird chalky texture that goes onto your hands when you're painting that I did not like. Yes, they are the cheapest of the 3, but you have to use a lot of coats of them. You have to add a lot of white to get the pigment of the colors to pop out. Like, or if you look in the background here, this one's made of the craft paints, and it's like an eggshell, almost like texture. There's a lot of white in it too, so it's muted. So for my style, where I like big, bold, colorful designs, it doesn't align with it. So that's why I'm giving them a 3. For value for the SoFlat Matte acrylic paints, I'm going to be giving them a 7. I love this product. I think it's wonderful, but for the price point of them being $11 to $20 for a 2-ounce little bottle of them, it's hard for me to swallow that because I love them and I want to use them more, but they are very expensive. So if I'm going to be doing a commission and I want to use these paints, I'm going to have to charge more for the commission to justify buying those products to use. So, I mean, maybe that just comes along with like growing as an artist and wanting to use better products, but for where I'm at right now, they're just a little bit out of reach for me. So that's why they are getting a 7. So for the next category is shine. Are these shiny? Luminosity is the word that I kept spelling wrong and saying wrong in other takes of this video, so saved you from that one. So here they are all going to get a 9. None of them are shining. any spots that you see that the camera is picking up is either because of the matte medium that I put down over the spray paint layer so the paints would stick to it, or it's from where the paint did get mixed, especially in the paint pins. If you don't shake them enough times and it doesn't get mixed, it's like a watery, like oily, almost like paint that comes out first. So they are all matte paints. And for the last category, it's ease of use. I'm going to give Posca's a 7 for ease of use. As I stated before, you can just go buy a pack, open it up, depress it a couple times, and start drawing. They are super easy to start off with. But as you use them more, you start to understand where their limitations are. For, like I said, using the paintbrushes with them earlier in the video. You can buy every different size nib of these, but that gets really expensive in the long run and you'll only use them on certain projects. So I think cutting the corner and just using a paintbrush with them is a good tip to use. And then also for blending, you have to practice that. It's very wasteful. So these are where, like, yes, Poscas are great. They're super fun, super easy, but you need something else. You need a friend to help out where their limitations are. So that's why I'm giving them a 7 for ease of use. I'm gonna give the craft paints a 5 for ease of use. They have their purpose, you know, they are a craft paint. Like I said, I won't be using them again. That chalky texture just killed it for me. I cannot stand it. It's cringy for me to think about right now. I just didn't enjoy using them. So I'm sure they have their purpose somewhere, making, I don't know, Christmas ornaments or letting the kids just do whatever they want with them. But for me, as an artist, I won't be using them again. So that's why they're getting a 5 for ease of use. And then lastly, the SoFlat Mattes, I'm giving a 9 for ease of use. You could do one coat with them and it would be just fine. Or you can do multiple coats and get a nice smooth texture on it. For the top ones, the SoFlat Mattes, the Flamingo is done with a couple layers and it's really flat. It's all the same color, which is super nice. While these leaves down here are done with just one pass over, and you can still see some of the wood grain through it, but the color's packed in. It's there, it's bright, it's bold, it's wonderful. So how did these rank at the end of it all? I'm going to give Posca's a total of 24 points out of a possible 30. Craftsmart matte paints are going to be getting a 17, coming in last, and the SoFlat Matte acrylic paints I'm giving a 25, making them the winner of the matte paint challenge today. They're the most matte, they are the most saturated with color, they were the easiest to use, and I will definitely be using them again in the future. I have a commission that I started that I use them on, and so maybe in the next video you'll see them, but as I grow as an artist, hopefully I can use more golden paints and they will make me happy, and they'll make you happy because my paintings will look better. And yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up there. You can find me at I Am The Yaki on all of my socials. Instagram, TikTok are the two that I use the most. You can also go to my website, IamTheYaki.com, where you can find prints, stickers, shirts, and I made a print of this flamingo. So if you want one for your house, you can go and pick one up there. I think they're $20 or less for a bunch of different sizes too. So whatever's in your budget. I think it starts at like 10 and goes up to 20. So go check it out, IamTheYaki.com. Like and subscribe down there. Throw some comments. What'd you like? What'd you not like? What do you want me to paint next? I'm here for you. So, thanks for watching again. Take care. Bye.